the 19th of October, Rabbi Levitt, Gomorra.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. So we are on the bottom of Pei Vav Amid base. And the Gemara is in the middle of investigating this that Rabbi Yehuda holds that there's a exemption for a summa. And when he causes, when he all sorts of cases. So far, we said he's exempt when he causes busha to another person. And we said that he's exempt from having to go to Golis in a case where he otherwise would have to, a horig b'shogeg, accidental murder. And now we're going to have another case over here. Oh, actually, okay, the Gemara is going to go into this. It's asking again, my time of the Rebbe Yehuda. My time of the Rebbe Yehuda.
Okay, that's on 86b4, left-hand column, second paragraph.
And he's going to quote here now a pasuk in Devorim. Gemara is going to quote a pasuk in Devorim.
19:5.
Let's take a look at this pasuk. $19.5. Oh, here's the case. Here's the case. Oh, okay. This is another parsha in the Torah. Yesterday we had a parsha in the Torah in Bamidbar, from the words below Ra'os. And now we're going to have quoted from a different pasuk, which also is talking about a horig b'shogeg, an accidental murderer. The pasuk before in pasuk Daled, Zeh devar harotzeach asher yonus shama v'chai asher yakis re'eu b'vli das v'hu lo sonelo mitmol shilshom. This is the halacha about the person who is a murderer, an accidental one, that he will flee. He will flee over there to the refuge city, and he will live over there because he smote his friend b'vli das, without das. Who lo sonelo, and he did not hate him. Mitmol shilshom, not yesterday, not the day before. And now, in verse 5, pasuk Hey, we have our pasuk. So let's, Roy, you want to read this pasuk? You have the pasuk there?
Yeah, I'll read it in English. I think I better read the one before it as well. all right, here it is, 5. Or who will come with his fellow into the forest to hew trees, and his hand swings an axe to cut the tree. And the iron slips from the wood and finds his fellow, and he dies. He shall flee to one of these cities and live.
Okay. Okay, so on this pasuk, the Gomorra has a point to make. So let's read from the Gomorra here now. My time of the Rebbe Yehuda. Amar Lach. Lou, you want to read?
What is Rabbi Yehuda's reason? Amar Lach, he would say to you, Va'asher yavo es re'ehu va'ya'ar lach tov eitzim. And whoever comes with his fellow into the forest to chop wood, va'afilu suma, even a blind person, kasav rachamana below raos, and the Torah wrote without seeing, to exclude one who cannot see. So this seems to be contradictory. Whoever comes with his fellow, that includes a blind person. But then it says the Torah wrote without seeing, to exclude. Those contradict each other, right?
Yeah.
So I think the point of Rebbe Yehuda must be that Rebbe Yehuda with this is attempting to show that his view of the expression lo ra'os is necessarily, the pshat is like the way he says it, and not like the way Rebbe Meir says it. What do I mean? Rebbe Meir said on these words below rose in the previous lines that we learned yesterday. Below rose means that this Rotseach over here, he didn't see the person that he struck. He didn't see him. So Rebbe Meir says on those words, oh, so that fits the description of a summa like a glove. He also didn't see the person. He didn't see him. That's exactly what we're describing over here. What difference does it make whether he never is able to see or whether he didn't see the person then? It goes together. He didn't see him. So somebody who's a summa, he would also be included in the matter. So Rabbi Yehuda is saying, no, you have to look at what lo ros means in light of what a pasuk in a different parsha that's speaking also about a rotseach b'shogeg, an accidental murderer, says, and it's like this. We look, the Gomorra is saying, you look at the pasuk in Devorim that we just read, and the point is that that pasuk looks like we are coming to include a summa, even a summa. And so therefore, since that pasuk could be the simple interpretation is that it's coming to include a summa, because Asuma is capable of going into the forest, I guess, and chopping wood. He's able to do that. Therefore, we look at these words below Rose. We look at these words below Rose that they are coming to say, no, don't think that the Summa is included in this parsha. The reason why the Torah went out of its way to say that he didn't see over here is like Rabbi Yehuda wants to learn the words below Rose. Meaning that,
But that's not in that parsha. I'm confused by that. It doesn't
okay,
say
so,
Lo Rose in that parsha.
right. It doesn't say Lo Rose in the parsha in Devorim. It
Right.
says Lo Rose in the parsha in Bamidbar.
Right.
But Rabbi Yehuda is looking at in a global sense the way the Torah looks at the din of a Rotzeach B'Shogeg, an accidental murderer, and we see that the Torah discusses this din in Bamidbar, and we also see that it discusses it in Devorim, and it's axiomatic that the discussion that it says over in Bamidbar complements and goes together with, and is meant to be learned together with the parsha in Devorim, even though it's in a different sefer, but it's still, we see clearly from the words of the parsha that the parsha is discussing the subject of a Rotzeach B'Shogeg. And so Rabbi Yehuda is saying, seems to me that Rabbi Yehuda is saying that the reason why he's learning that below Rose means to exclude a summa is precisely because of the fact that the pasuk in the Midbar could be very easily read to mean that you should include the summa, and therefore he's saying that the way we have to put these two these psukim together to read them as one unified whole, which is talking about the mitzvah, the din of Rotzeach B'Shogeg, is to learn that the pasuk of below Rose is coming to tell us to exclude a summa from the parsha.
How do we know that these two psukim are connected? We don't have a Gezerah Shava
We
to
don't.
connect.
Okay. How do we see that they're connected? Because we see that in Pasuk Daled, for example, in Yud Tes, in Devorim, you see that the Pasuk says clearly, this is the matter of the Rotzeach, who's going to be going to Gullus.
Right.
So we see that Pasuk is talking about the din of a Rotzeach B'Shogeg.
Right.
So now let's take a look at the pasuk in Bamidbar, and let's try to find in the pasuk in Bamidbar a reference to the din of Rotzeach B'Shogeg, and I'm confident that we will be able to find a clear reference to a Rotzeach B'Shogeg in that parsha over there.
Is it?
This is pasuk in Bamidbar. It's 35:23.
Uh-huh.
right? This parsha over here is speaking about both an intentional murder and right. In other words, if you take a look at the pasuk Chaf Aleph, for example, Chaf Aleph is a pasuk that's talking about an intentional murder. O be'eva hikohu biyado v'yamos mos yumas hamake rotseachu go el adam yamis esa rotseach bepigo bo. This is a person that the Torah is describing who struck his friend in anger. He was angry at him. He intended to strike him in order to harm him, and he dealt him a death blow. So that person, the Torah says, is going to be he's going to be mos yumas. Okay, but then in pasuk Chaf Beis, the Torah changes its tune. Ve'im bepeta below eva hadafo o hishlich alav kol kli below tzediyah. Here we see that the Torah is saying we're talking now about a person that was not acting out of hatred. And then it says below rose. V'yapelalo v'yamos v'hu lo oevlo. He wasn't his enemy. Lo mavakesh ra'aso. He wasn't seeking his evil. So the Gomorra understood that the pasuk here is talking about also the din of rotseach b'shogeg. So even though these
in one case it's b'shogeg because it says he didn't know. In the other case, it says he didn't see. So what's the connection between the two?
If he didn't see, he didn't know.
so really that could be used as a support for Rebbe Yehuda.
But why, I still don't understand why we're connecting these two psukim. Because they're both talking about somebody who acted b'shogeg?
Yeah, we see from the two psukim, they were talking about somebody who murdered someone. And we're seeing that we're talking about not just, we're talking specifically about a murderer who murdered unintentionally, without hatred.
So in other words, it's just logic. There's no Gezerah Shava or Hekesh
Right.
connection. We're just saying logically they're talking about the same subject, therefore we can combine them.
Right. We see that they're both talking about the subject of a horig b'shogeg. So they have to be learned together. They have to be learned together. So basically, as I understand it, Rebbe Yehuda is attempting to prove his point in the case of below Ra'os, that it means like he says and not like Rebbe Meir says, that it's coming to exclude a summa. It's coming to exclude a summa. And do we have any Rashi? If we have some, I mean, I'll grant you this. It's not 100% clear, or maybe even more percent, or maybe, well, I guess when you say 100%, that's it's not 100%, and it may not even be 70% to us. What exactly is the connection over here in terms of the logic? In other words, in terms of the not that it's clear, I believe that the two psukim are connected to one another because they're talking about the same subject. And so therefore we have to learn them together to understand what obviously the reason why we have these two psukim is because we're going to learn something from both of the psukim. That's why they were written. But Rabbi Yehuda, what he's doing over here is he wants to prove his point that below Ros is coming Lemu'ute, is coming to exclude a summa, not like Rebbe Meir. And I'll grant you, it's not 100% clear what exactly is his proof from this that he brings the pasuk, the other pasuk. He goes together with his friend in the forest to chop wood, and we say that that pasuk we could have learned from that pasuk that pasuk is coming to include afilu summa. Even a summa would be included in the parsha of a Horeg B'Shogeg, and he would be Chayav Golus if he was in fact a Horeg B'Shogeg. On that, Rabbi Yehuda seems to be saying that's precisely why the Torah needed to write below Ra'os in order that we should learn that no, the summa is excluded from the parsha. He's excluded from the parsha. Not 100% clear. What I'd like to do now is take a look at what Rebbe Meir says over here. He's also going to have something to say about this expression below Ros. And let's see if we could understand Rebbe Meir, and then maybe go back to Rebbe Yehuda, and we'll have an added insight into Rebbe Yehuda, what he holds and where their machlokes lies. So let's go to Rebbe Yehuda. I'm sorry, let's go to Rebbe Meir. Do you want to continue?
Okay. And Rebbe Meir would say, Kasav Rachamana below Ra'os. The Torah wrote without seeing the Ma'ute to exclude the Chasav Rachamana Bivlidas. But the Torah wrote without awareness. The Miyute to exclude have a miyut achar miyut. This is a exclusion after an exclusion. The ain miyut achar miyut ella l'rabos. And a exclusion after an exclusion only comes to include. So he's saying that without seeing excludes one who cannot see. And without awareness excludes one who cannot see. Therefore, since it's redundant, it must be that it's including somebody who cannot see. Whoa. That's bizarre.
Okay, so this is not a principle that's based on logic. This is a Talmudic principle over here. That when you find in the Torah one mute that would appear to exclude, like in our case, a summa, and then you find another mute. So in such a case where you have a structure in the parsha, in that structure of mute achar mute, you have one exclusionary clause after another exclusionary clause. Then the Torah says, this is, I guess you could say, one of the midas she'atorah nidreshes behem. This is one of the ways that we received from Moshe Rabbeinu how to learn what the Torah is telling us. And according to this midah, according to this method of derivation, the Masorah, the tradition says, "Ein miut achar miut ela l'rabos." When you have a structure like this in a parsha, it means that the Torah is coming to actually include that summa, which you excluded 2 times. So over here, you have that the Gomorra is saying that Rebbe Meir, he seems to be, he doesn't invoke the pasuk of that they came together in the forest to chop wood, like Rebbe Yehuda did. Rebbe Yehuda makes he's using his method of derivation based upon these two psukim. He's putting these 2 separate psukim together with the from the parsha in Bamidbar. But Rebbe Meir does not do that. Rebbe Meir is not looking into the pasuk in Bamidbar that they went into the forest together to chop wood. He is just basing his drasha on the Talmudic principle of miut achar miut. Now, right? We know where it says below rows. We know where it says below rows. That's in pasuk Chaf Gimel. Oh, this is interesting. Where is this pasuk about bli das? That's not in this parsha over here, is it?
It's in Devarim 19:4.
That's in the other parsha. So he's taking from that parsha too, but he's taking a different part of that parsha and learning it together with the below rows in our parsha.
Right. This is very confusing.
Let's see. This that it says Belidas is Yud Tes Daled, 19:4.
Right.
19:4. Said Dvarotseach, Asher Yonus Shama V'chai, Asher Yakes Re'eu Belidas. Belidas. This is the matter of the Rotseach that is going to flee over there and live, that he struck his friend Belidas. That's what he did. So Rabbi Meir, very interesting. He's learning these two parshas. They're in separate sforim. One's in Bamidbar, one's in Devorim, and he's learning them together, and then putting them together into this Talmudic method of derivation called miut achar miut, and saying we see that we have two miutim, we have two exclusionary expressions of a summa.
According to my footnote, there's a Tosfos, which says exactly what I was thinking, which is, let the Torah refrain from stating any exclusion, and automatically everything is included.
Okay.
Why are we going through this, all these gymnastics here?
Okay, let's see where's this Tosus? Tema says Tosus. Lolich Tov. This is the second to the last Tosus on the page. Dibra Maskil Be'ain.
Got it. Oh, the ain mute. Yeah, got it.
Oh, it looks like Tosus. Yeah, you could read it. It looks like it's not going to answer anything for us. It's just going to ask questions.
Right. Lo lichtov shum. Don't write anything. Miut. Don't write any exclusions. Umamela.
Israbi.
Israbe. What's Israbe?
From the word lerabot. It'll yeah. Then automatically it will come to include.
V'chein yesh lehakshot gabe ein ribui achar ribui ella le ma'at, and therefore there is, what is lahakshut?
To ask a kasha.
Ask about gabe ein ribuye, that there isn't an inclusion. After ribuye, after an inclusion, except to exclude. It just reversed the logic. Is ribuye to include?
Yeah, ribuy is to include. So in other words, there's a corollary to our principle, which is if you have two ribuyim, if you have two inclusionary clauses, So that means the Torah is telling us to exclude that which it included twice.
Right.
So
What does that
Tosfos
have to do
says
with anything?
that's going to be in light of the question that he asks. Why does the Torah need to write two exclusionary clauses in order to tell us that the Torah wants that it should be included that a summa is liable? So too, when the Torah writes, not in the case of summa, we don't have such a case, but wherever the case is that the Gomorra, that the Psukim write this, but whenever we have two inclusionary clauses, and the Torah rule on that is that the Torah means to exclude. So we could ask the same question, says Tosfos. The same question is, why do you need to tell me 2 times to include something? If you didn't say anything at all, what would I think? I would say it's not included. Oh, so why do you have to write 2 times include? Don't write any inclusions, and then I'll memela. Automatically I'll understand that it's not included. So it's the same, it's really the same kasha the other way around.
So Tosfos is questioning the whole basis of the idea of these exegetical principles.
Yeah. So actually I have a note over here. We shouldn't think that there's no answers to these questions Tosfos is asking. Tosfos here doesn't. Tosfos here, what?
I've got to go. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All the
Hey,
best,
Roy.
Roy.
Have a good day.
We'll see you. So there's a apparently there's a Tosfos there's a Tosfos in Maseches Yuma on Daf Samach Amud Aleph 60a Dibur Maskil Trey. Over there, Rabbeinu Shmuel answers this question that Tosfos asked over here. And he says as follows: She'im loy shekosva haTorah es shnei hamiutim kedei l'rabos. If the Torah would not have written these 2 exclusionary clauses in order for us to learn that a summa is yes included, haya efshar lilmod midrasha acheres l'ma'et. We would have incorrectly thought to learn from a different place to exclude, and we would have got it wrong. So in other words, when the Torah tells us 2 exclusionary clauses, it's telling us that I want you to include this summa over here. And even if you'll see that there's some place where you could say that it's coming to exclude a summa, disregard that. That's not what the pasuk over there is coming to tell us to do. Make no mistake about it. Rely on the fact that you see over here when you have 2 inclusionary, or rather, no, when you have 2 exclusionary clauses, it's coming to tell you definitively to include, and don't go any further. You don't need to go any further to wonder about the matter. You may even find some place where you might think to say, oh, it's coming to exclude the summa over here. No, don't think that, because you already know you have these two exclusionaries, which now the Torah principle is to say that the Torah is telling me to include that summa. So it's a way of saying don't think otherwise. if you've got two exclusionaries, know for a fact that means that the din is that the Torah is telling me, include it.
So it's an override.
And if it wouldn't have had those two exclusionaries, I might have thought to say, oh well, here I've got what looks to me to be one inclusive. So maybe that's what the Torah is coming to tell me. So I wouldn't know.
Right.
I would in fact I would say, by virtue of the fact that the Torah doesn't say anything except for this, what looks to be that's what he says. Haya efshar lilmod midrasha acheres lema'et. I might have thought to say that there was some other drasha, perhaps maybe not even a mute, but some other halacha, some other method of drasha that would come out to exclude a summa. So now we're saying no such drasha is accepted. We've got a mute after mute. Ein el rabos. That's the Torah telling me. That's it. Don't go any further.
All right.
And we can't go any further now either, because we already got 32.
All
Okay,
right,
so
well,
I'm
have a
gonna,
safe trip, and I'll look forward to hearing from you later today.
yes. Okay, thank you, Lou, for opening up your meeting before I knew that I had mine.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay, we'll be in touch.
I would say probably the smartest thing would be for me to host your substitute.
Okay,
Reduce the
Okay.
confusion.
right. Then nobody has to learn a new set of numbers that way.
Right. Yeah, if it's possible, that would probably be best.
Okay, so if you're offering, then that's going to be what it is. So that's what we'll tell him. All he has to do is go into your meeting.
Right. And I can send
Okay.
him the link. If you don't know how to do it, I can send him the link.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
All right. So just get his email, please, and then I can coordinate with him.
Okay, should I tell him to send you an email?
That'd be the best. Yeah.
And your email address?
Lou Fridkis, LOUFRIDKIS
Right?
@gmail.com.
Oh, okay, very good. Okay, so I'll tell him to do that. Okay, we'll be in touch.
And is he going to do the same topics, or is he going to pick his own topics? Well, you don't know yet.
The understanding is that he's going to be continuing. Rabbi Firman wants him to continue B'diuk right where we left off, doing the same thing, the same format. Everything should be as similar as possible.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you very much. Hatzlacha Rabbah.
Amen. Okay. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.